It is hot in the UK at the minute. We are currently experiencing another heat wave, and actually this is the warmest it's predicted to be since I've lived in the UK. So for the last 8-9 years, it's hot, and the UK is not well equipped for this type of heat. Global warming is happening here. I think the high this week is predicted to be 37 degrees Celsius, which is a whopping 98 Fahrenheit. It's gonna be hot. And while the UK might not be equipped, I have some ideas about what I want to be doing to help my plants tolerate this sort of really hot period, and I figured I would do those things with y'all today, show you what I'm doing so you can prep your plants for this heat wave, any future heat waves, any sort of like extra hot time in the future. Before we get into that though, I want to say if you're new here and you don't know me already, hi, my name is Emma and I make houseplanting content all over the internet. So if you want to follow along with my houseplanting journey and maybe learn something along the way, stick around, watch some more of my videos, and subscribe to my channel. If you are not new here, welcome back. I really appreciate you returning. Now let's just get straight into this because I'm starting early this morning on purpose. It is not even, or it's just gone 9 a.m. and you gotta start early with these things because you gotta do it before the sun gets to like the peak point in the day, because let's be honest, once it gets to 30 degrees outside, it'll probably be 30 degrees inside my flat as well. Terrifying. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is actually moving plants away from windows. Y'all saw, if you watched my walkthrough video, that the plant that I had in this pot is not the same plant as before. I put a new one in here. That plant fried while I was gone during the last heat wave, and so I am strategically moving these things out of the way, out of this window, because they, while they might enjoy a little bit of direct sunlight most of the year round in my home, I've got really nice southwest facing windows, so we get quite a lot of nice light. While they might enjoy it, ooh, look at that flower. While they might enjoy it most of the year, they don't enjoy it nearly as much when it's this hot and it's kind of inescapable, because my home traps heat. Heat in the UK is an absolutely different beast than in the US. It's just unfathomable how different it is. And like, I grew up in LA, like inland LA, so it gets hot there. It is 100 degrees Fahrenheit or like 39 Celsius there fairly regularly. But the thing LA has that we don't have here: air conditioning. Homes are built with air conditioning. The UK doesn't have that. We bought for our home here a portable AC unit last summer because it was just starting to get so hot. Once it gets into the 30s here, it is just mind-boggling how warm these buildings stay, and it's because they were originally built intended to keep in the heat in the winter. It gets cold here, you want to keep the heat in. In the summer, you want that heat to go out, but it just gets trapped in these buildings and it gets so hot. So did these ones. Let's do the ones in the office as well. These ones I'm honestly just gonna pop on the ground. They're doing really, oh, I was right. It was pregnant, is my Tycon. It was pregnant, yay. So just pop these down out of the window, because those ones specifically, they like the sun, but they're not gonna like it that much. And I'm actually also gonna close this blind. Because that's gonna help like keep the heat out of here. And like the main goal that I have when cooling down my home is to keep it cool while it's cool, as opposed to trying to cool down a hot space, because that is a whole heck of a lot harder than maintaining cool status. So heat protocol, we got the blinds down. But we've also got this area in the living room, and I can't take these plants away from here, so I've just closed the blinds on them, and fingers crossed they'll be okay. The other main reason I'm starting early is because when you're in a heat wave like this, it's really good to water your plants early in the morning. One, before it gets too hot so it's easier for you, but also so that your plants have moisture throughout the hottest parts of the day. That is when they're really going to struggle the most if they're dry and it's hot. But you really want to make sure that you're checking the soil before you're putting water in. Do not just water every plant willy-nilly. If it's still got moisture in it, if it's not ready to be watered, overwatering plus heat stress is like a surefire one-way track to root rot. So you still want to be checking your plants, making sure that they need the watering. You're not just watering willy-nilly. So I'm gonna go around and do this. My moss poles are probably all freaking dried up as well. So get those hydrated too. Especially make sure that your water reservoirs on semi-hydro plants as well are topped up, because those will evaporate so much faster when it's hot out, and you really don't want to be letting those roots dry too much. If you can do this whole process like a couple days before a heat wave, so our hottest day I think is supposed to be Wednesday this week, and I'm doing this on Monday. If you can do this before the heat wave happens, make sure everything is nice and hydrated, is probably a good idea. It'll make your life easier as well. So highly recommend getting in there in advance. Okay, yeah, so that one's already moist. That one's not. Some of these I did water fairly recently, so I don't need to be watering them again, where others have definitely dried out. Also, now that I've just filled this one up again, I want to note that it's important you don't put fertilizer in with these waters, because when plants are stressed out like they could be in the heat wave, they're not going to be able to absorb the nutrients as well as they might otherwise. Oh yeah, that's thirsty. And so you don't really want to waste the fertilizer on that, as well as it could potentially cause damage to your plants if you are fertilizing when they're not in like an ideal state. Because fertilizing does like technically stress your plant out a little bit, and so stress on top of stress equals not a good time. Whereas if you're fertilizing when your plants aren't stressed, it should be okay. It's the same principle about not like fertilizing right after you like pot up propagations. Like they're not ready for it yet. Plants in a heat wave aren't ready for the fertilizer because they've not got the like stress tolerance. And so just don't do it. I think the other big thing is I'm just gonna close the curtains and the blinds throughout the house. In general, this is good to do when it is super duper hot, because it doesn't allow the hot air to get into the home, which is kind of what we're trying to avoid during the heat wave. And I'm also gonna go so far as to turn off my grow lights. Now I'm just standing in the dark, okay. Don't have blackout curtains in here, so we're actually able to like see a little bit. I'm probably not gonna spend any time in the bedroom today, let's be honest. But you wanna turn off your grow lights because they put out heat by themselves in addition to the light. And I mean, any additional heat we can remove from the equation, the better. And also having your plants under the grow lights is gonna be like helping them use the energy faster, use the water faster, evaporate off that water faster. And so if we can stop that, you're gonna be in a better place too if you had them on. And I know we want to have our plants in grow lights, especially for like closing the blinds and stuff. I know it kind of feels counterintuitive because like you're turning off the sun from them, so like you might want to keep them going. But when it gets to extreme heats like this, it is better to just cool it for a minute. Like if you wouldn't run outside during a heat wave like this, You wouldn't necessarily want to run on a treadmill in this either, because like you're trying to conserve energy. Kind of the same thing with grow lights. And so it is like, it's a weird balance, and your plants aren't going to be mad at like a few days in the summer when it's this hot, like not having that little bit of extra light. And so having that bit of a break isn't an issue. Another thing you want to consider is humidity. Here in the UK, it's not too much of an issue. I think that's one of the other reasons why heat in the UK hits so different, because it is a bit more of a moist heat. It's not like swampy, but like it just feels oppressive, and I think part of that is due to the humidity levels. Like a dry heat is much easier, at least for me, to tolerate. It's what I'm more used to coming from LA, like a desert area, than a like tropical area like Florida or something. But when temperatures get high like this, boosting humidity can be a good thing. I'm not going to do that here because my humidifier is in the loft. I haven't used it in years actually, because I haven't found that I need it in my home. My home tends to be 60+% humidity all of the time, even without any added humidity. And I think that is partially like from living in the UK. And so it is still humid in here, but if you do have central aircon, that seriously dries out your home. We do have our AC unit, and yes, that will be slightly dehumidifying the air, but again, similar to with the grow lights, a few days of it being slightly less humid isn't going to kill my plants. Any of the plants that I have that really require that high humidity, I try and keep them in the greenhouse cabinet as it is, or under cloches, or in like environments that would be protected regardless. So I'm not too worried about the humidity in this space, but it is just something to be aware of. You can set out pebble trays because it's so warm, it's gonna evaporate off. It's not the best. The best thing to do for humidity is definitely getting a humidifier, putting out a humidifier. That's the like only surefire thing that's going to boost humidity in a space long term, like sustainably. The one thing you want to make sure you're not doing to boost humidity is misting your plants' leaves that are in direct sun. I know we've pulled plants out of the windows already, but if you can't possibly do that, which is reasonable, like if you've got a lot of plants or you don't have the space for that, fine, just keep an eye on those plants, but also don't mist them, because water droplets on the plant's leaves will act as tiny little magnifying glasses, and you could get lots of burn marks from where those water spots were. Not necessarily attractive. Once the leaves have burns on them, they're not going to be green again, so you will, like, it is mostly cosmetic damage, but if we can avoid it, we may as well. So in general, misting your plants isn't going to help that much with humidity anyway, so I would just personally avoid it entirely. Also, speaking of ACs, you don't want those blowing directly on your plants, because that cold air it's putting out, in contrast with the like heat around, can also shock the plant a little bit. I don't think it's going to be too bad in our home, because our AC unit is tiny and we kind of point it in the general direction of the room, so it's not blowing straight on a leaf like this. I wouldn't point the AC directly at my plant, is what I'm saying. But you do want to make sure that if you do have central AC, your plants aren't like right in front of AC vents, because that could give them issues if you're blasting cold air all day. And also, you don't want to be repotting during this time either. Again, it's just adding more stress on top of the stress of being in a high heat environment. And so it's better to just like hunker down and stop, and your plant can wait a couple more days before repotting. It's not going to be the end of the world. It's better to just lower everything, lower all of your expectations. Things will just be a bit chiller. Like, you just want to relax and let your plants kind of work their way through it instead of like stressing them out even more. And then one final don't do during a heat wave is panic prune your plants. They might start drooping a little bit. It is perfectly normal when things get this hot. They can get wilty, especially if they are like not necessarily watered perfectly. Don't panic prune your plants right away. Don't immediately cut off that wilting thing. It's very likely that it will perk back up again once you're like no longer in such high heat or not dehydrated anymore. So don't stress. Only start pruning after the heat wave is over, after you know that your plant is hydrated well enough, you can like have a check on it and maybe check out the roots to see if anything needs to be done. But like I said, only after the like period of heat is over. So I'm not gonna be doing any major plant stuff like cutting things until at least next week, once it's cooled down a little bit. I think it's only supposed to be 25 next week, which is gonna be beautiful in comparison. So there we go. Those are my houseplant heat wave tips. I hope some of these helped you prepare for the upcoming intensity that we are getting here in the UK. I am sure we're not the only place in the world getting this like crazy heat wave right now. I wouldn't be surprised if like half of Europe is like boiling as well. So I really hope this helped. I feel like my plants are prepared now, and I hope yours are as well. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up down below and leave a comment on other houseplanty things you'd like me to talk about in the future, and subscribe for more. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to keep growing, and don't forget to stay cool. You got this. Bye!